Welcome back, everybody. Episode 6, getting right into it. My name is Jason Gorman with Chris Weiler, Deke, Ben Christensen. We are the rest of the field. Like I said, episode 6, we're going to jump right into this thing. You can find us on Twitter at @rest_field. We're starting to put out some more, what do you call them, posts? Is that what they call them on Instagram? We're starting to put out some more stuff on Instagram. The rest of the field, you can find us on there. And then obviously on our YouTube channel, give us a subscribe so you know when we are putting out some more information. But other than that, we're going to jump right in. We've got a new segment as of last week, and here we are again. This is the second time we're doing it. This is what's on Deke's Dome. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the man. Let us know what's on your dome.
We can't go back to that picture?
We can. Would you like to talk about the picture?
Was that a lid store?
I believe that was a lid store. Yeah, let me share my screen again.
I have too many pictures on the internet, I think.
These are all, I found these all on my Facebook. So I was limited to what I had.
Yeah, looks like I've been in the sun.
I'd say.
So the fedora, I don't know how many times I would rock that, but that was a golf outing we were at, and we had to dress up as an old school golfer from the 50s or something.
Yeah, it was an old timey golf. I wanted to put the whole picture up on there, but I didn't want to leave Chris out.
Yeah,
Ben and I are also in that picture wearing our golf attire.
Yeah. So my hat today is a Houston Astros hat, orange. Would be a throwback, but this is the logo that they have currently. They went back to this a couple of years ago. Bought it from Lids. Meaning behind it is the only reason I have this hat is because I was a huge Carlos Gomez fan when he played for the Brewers, and he went to the Astros, and that's why I bought it. Also, my wife thinks I look good in orange, so who knows what that gets me. So
it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm not going to give a thumbs down to that. I like the orange. I think I prefer more the this kind of the standard navy hats that are in most baseball teams. But I like the mix up here with I shouldn't say navy, but there's usually a blue option for most teams that are out there.
Well, there could be a Navy Astros hat in the mix at one of these episodes. It's possible.
We shall wait and see. Chris, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up on the hat, but thumbs down on the team. Absolutely thumbs down on Houston. But hat-wise, Deke always can bring it with hats, so I love it.
All right. Ben, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh, yeah, thumbs up, mostly just for the reason. If the wife likes it, wear it.
Ben, what about your dome? Your wife like your hat? Your fiance?
She doesn't care.
Okay, then.
You've went forwards today, Ben. Usually you have the backwards look.
Well, I was feeling more, I don't know, forward.
Professional.
How about that? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's Ben in a nutshell, just more professional.
Yeah.
Well, that was the second installment of What's on Deke's Dome. We're going to bring that to you on a weekly basis to start off our show. And Houston Astros orange hat, thumbs up all around, even at home, which is always a good thing for those of us who are married or have a special someone out there.
So from there,
from there we'll take it right into last week's drafts. Actually, this draft, this Michael Jordan teammate draft, is currently live. I apparently put it on for too long, so there's probably a few hours left to vote on here. But we'll do the results as they stood this morning. Ben's apparently going for a walk. One. And what we did here was we drafted Michael Jordan's teammates, so anybody who played with Jordan at any time during his NBA career. And we drafted them off of their NBA careers, not necessarily how they performed while with Michael Jordan, because some of these guys only played for 1 year with Jordan. So we drafted 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. Chris, were you team 1?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then that means Ben was 2, I was team 3, and Deke was team 4. The results on that draft were
my God.
Wow.
Yep,
Wow.
just beat out Team 1. We did give Deke a hard time during the draft that his team
Very hard time. I don't
points.
want you to gloss over that. You gave me a very hard time.
Oh,
I mean, our
rated
followers.
hard. I think it was on paper the lack of points these players put up over their careers was the main point. But the thing after looking at it, I think the Last Dance recency bias I think Deke had the most names from that show, and Steve Kerr, Kukoc, Rodman, and even Cartwright, got a decent amount of screen time and was interviewed during the show. Ben's team had Horace Grant and BJ Armstrong. Luke Longley was in the clips, but he wasn't necessarily interviewed. Chris's team, I don't know. Harper, I don't believe, was interviewed. Pippen obviously was on there quite a bit. 4 of your 5 guys were in different old clips.
This is simple. I'm going to be honest. This just comes down to like name notoriety, as Deke's team was drafted for like how they played with Michael Jordan. Like his team as sidekicks played awesome, but as an actual team, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a hard.
I don't want to say the fans got it wrong, but
that's a hard point to get across to the viewers or to anybody who's voting that maybe didn't even watch the show. They just saw the Twitter poll, and so they took a look at it and they voted on what they thought. There's obviously only so much information that you can put in there, and I didn't want to make it too wordy, but could have been. I mean, they could have voted on for that reason. He did. I think he only beat you out by a couple votes by the look of it. I was a little surprised Ben's team, and I think Ben's team didn't perform because of Orlando Woolridge. I think a lot of people may see that as somebody they don't know.
Well, can I point out he called him Lando Woodbridge, so that's why I think if anybody listened to that, they might have docked a vote.
Yeah.
So
Ben even didn't know the guy he was picking. So it was a fun draft. It was all because of the Last Dance that we were doing it, and we wanted to do that draft before the last installment. So Deke took that one. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
Nice job, Deke.
Yep.
They don't call him Bill Cart wrong. They call him Bill Cart right.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that. The thing I was thinking about is you were giving me so much hate for Christian Leitner, you being a UNC fan, when I did have Jerry Stackhouse on the team and Brendan Haywood.
I'm not as big as UNC fan as I used to be.
But you're still that big of a Duke hater?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, we'll move on. We also did an animated TV show draft. As simple as it is, you had to pick 4 animated TV shows, adult, kids, new, old, didn't matter. This one, team 1 was Deke. Team 2 was Chris. Team 3 was Ben, and I was team 4. Results on that one, we had a tie. And actually, we had a pretty close race between 3 of the teams. But team 2, so that's Chris and myself, tied on that one. Ben, I think you really lost out with probably He-Man. Maybe Turtle. No, I don't think Turtles would have lost 2 votes. And then depending on Rick and Morty, the people who have or have not seen it. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's good. I think you yourself haven't even seen it, or maybe only a little bit. And so I think that one, oh, you've seen them all. Okay. You snuck that in with all your recent video game playing and whatever else it is that you do during the day.
Yeah.
Anybody
only 3
else
seasons
shocked?
out, not a lot.
Anybody else shocked by the results here?
I'm not too shocked. I do think we should decide a winner because I am keeping track of the totals now for these draft winners. So maybe between.
Get a win?
No, I think we should pick a final winner, maybe between Ben and I. Would that be fair?
Because if you would both have to go the same way, obviously, if you're split.
Right.
Then...
Well, then we could go a little farther into maybe
Does anybody have a coin? We could do a coin flip on air.
Well, so Ben, if you were to pick a team out of 2 and 4 that you thought you liked better,
it would have been team 2. It would have been team 2.
So I also would have picked team 2, and the reason why is because it's Scooby-Doo and DuckTales.
Yes,
so exactly. I'm just gonna So it looks like, sorry, Jason, we just decided.
Chris, hey Chris, congratulations on your win there. I
would be happy to share it with you. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy to share it too, but apparently, for the two losers, we had to pick between the two of us.
I don't care. You can put it down as a half a win.
No, that's fine. You picked team two. You thought for sure.
The cool thing about this is right now, every single one of us has 2 wins.
Awesome. And that'll take us right into our draft today that we're doing at the end of this show. But again, no, Chris, congratulations. I take a little bit of pride in tying the vote. I don't really care about what what Ben and Deke have to say about my team. I was happy with it, and so were the people. So that takes us into our poll questions. We did put a poll question out last week, and that was, potentially starting late or restarting the NBA season and the MLB seasons. Would you consider the champion of each league to be legitimate, or does there need to be an asterisk next to that champion? Not necessarily the season, just a champion. And you out there on Twitter, kind of a runaway legitimate champion. So hopefully we do get to see some live sports here in the U.S. coming up sooner than later. I know there's a lot of talks in a lot of different sports, so we'll see how that all shakes out moving forward. That is going to take us into this week's poll question. And with the match 2 coming up this weekend, who are you guys going to take? And we'll go around the horn here. I'll start with Deke. Do you like Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning, or Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady?
This is interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen Tom Brady golf or seen him in a program or anything. No, Peyton Manning has played in a couple pro-ams, and I don't feel he was the greatest. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to go with who the greater GOAT is of each sport. And I think Tiger is a greater GOAT than Tom Brady, so I'll go with Tiger and Peyton.
Okay. Ben?
I'm taking Phil and Tom.
That's dumb. Chris?
I'm going to go Tiger and Peyton.
As am I.
You guys want to put a little side wager on this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ben always likes to bring up these. Likes to bring up these bets live on air. He wanted to fight somebody over his football picks when he ended up coming in last place on the vote, but he wanted to do a side bet on fantasy points when there's not even an NFL season going on right now. But he never actually comes forward with what the bet actually is. So
I'll have to come up with something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well.
Or do you want to do a round of drinks? It seems like a round of drinks was the going rate for the draft bet, correct?
So we all buy you a drink, and then you only have to buy. Do you have to buy 3 rounds, or do you have to?
Yes, I would have to buy 3 rounds.
And we would each buy our own individual rounds.
Yeah, so everybody has to. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Done.
All right.
Okay.
Put it on the books. Everybody that's listening is our witness, and that is we're just talking straight up win for the overall match, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to take us right into our last installment of talking about The Last Dance. And I'm going to turn it over here to Deke and just kind of get some final thoughts, and then we'll throw it around the horn, starting with Deke also on favorite part of the 10-part documentary series that was on ESPN. So with that, Deke, what are your final thoughts on The Last Dance?
Final thoughts on The Last Dance are that I just don't think it was as good as it was led up to be and that people are saying. I've talked about this on previous episodes only. One of the biggest reasons I think that is because we've seen everything. And I feel like they pieced together a lot of different documentaries to show those things. And then I think I just have a sour taste in my mouth from watching social media after the shows and during the shows, because I think people, we do live in such a recency biased type of society now, and they watch these shows and they'll jump on Twitter, Instagram, and post something that says, you know, Jordan is the greatest, hands down, can't argue anything. Nobody's ever going to be better. So to keep it as short as possible, a couple of things I would like to hear you guys, what you guys think on it, is if we had everything as it was, which again, I understand it's not, but let's say when Bill Russell was playing or Wilt Chamberlain, and then the next person that came through, or even more recently when it would be Jerry West to Julius Erving or Oscar Robertson, at that point, would we have had the same type of thing where people would have said, oh, there's no way ever that anybody's better than Oscar Robertson? And then when Magic came along, there's no way that Magic could be better than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Then Julius, you know, would that have happened? And then number two is a lot of people want to compare LeBron to being the greatest of all time to Jordan. And a lot of the argument for Jordan is that they go to, number one, the championships. And unfortunately, yes, how can you argue that? But I think all of us playing sports and knowing it, that, you know, Jordan was one or two bounces, you know, from losing a couple of them. You know, it's the Tom Brady thing. They miss one field goal or the other and they lose a couple more. And I get it. It didn't happen. But I see people that have the same skills as Michael Jordan. I don't think anybody can not say that. Kobe had the same skills. Kobe can dunk. Jordan can dunk. We've seen Brent Barry jump from the free throw line and dunk, and Michael Jordan did. So, like, you know, that type of thing. It's like, well, Jordan is the only man that could do that. No, well, Brent Barry did it with a jacket on. You know, so to me, Kobe is probably, for me, the closest argument, because they go to Jordan's attributes and his leadership and his intensity and will to win and his competitiveness. And the one person that also has that is always Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant also went to 7 finals and he won 5 of them. And in 2001, they only lost 1 game through the playoffs. So again, he didn't go 6 for 6, but he went 5 for 7, has every attribute that everybody else argues against LeBron that Jordan has. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think about that. And then I'll talk about my last thing about why I think Jordan is actually treated like a god in my closing, but just want to see what you guys think of my questions there.
What is your question exactly?
Oh, like if you guys think back then, would anybody ever say like Julius Erving, nobody's ever better than him when Jordan came along, or Magic to Kareem?
Gotcha.
Because
so
we don't have as much.
This whole better than the last guy really only started from Jordan. Nobody ever did the whole comparison thing before
Correct.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, yeah. And if you take all of those guys and put them into today's age in terms of the technology and everything else, then, I mean, it would be constant. It would be every guy was going to be the next whoever in terms of the amount of access that we have and the amount of communication that's out there in terms of social media and everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's, who knows?
It's a good point.
I'm sure Jordan still would have lived up to all of that. I think Kareem would have been the tough one for him to surpass, because Kareem, a lot of things changed in the game with Kareem, where nothing really about the game changed because of Michael Jordan. Like, I've heard the question out there too of who changed the game more, Steph or MJ. And Steph has changed the game, how it's played, the same way Dirk Nowitzki changed how big guys play. And Kareem, literally, rules changed in the game because of how he was playing, where none of that really happened for Michael. I'm not saying that he's not as good or better or anything else. I'm just saying the actual impact on the way the game is played was different for those guys. Now, his impact on the game in terms of the popularity of it, maybe the sense of it going worldwide and brand and exposure and starting to become that first celebrity. he may have had more of an impact in that sense. But yeah, it's an interesting question that you ask. But I guess that's just my quick 2 cents. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, Deke, I love the point. I mean, if Kerr and Paxson both missed the shot, like, is Jordan not considered the best ever? You know, maybe not circumstantially, but you know,
Right.
It doesn't merit on his game at all. Like, he's still one of the best players ever, if obviously the best. But my question back would be, like, why does everybody bring these back up? Like, who's the greatest player in football and basketball? And it really comes down to just emotion. Like, it brings the most emotion out of all of us fans.
Yeah.
Like,
Very polarizing.
arguing our own points on mindless stats. Like, I mean, LeBron physically, I mean, just what he could do maybe against Jordan, what Kobe could do against Mike. I mean, it's just the matchups of great players would be so minute, like we wouldn't even be able to tell if they're all on the court together. But the competitiveness is what stands out, I think. So that's why people always refer to it. I love LeBron, but I'm not going to have a GOAT talk just because it's endless and it's just never going to, merit. So
the same thing too. It's like, LeBron didn't never have to go through, the bad boys and the Celtics, and well, he didn't have the chance to. He could only play against the teams that he had to play against. So when things like that happen and people bring up those arguments, it's like, well, what do you want him to do? Totally. Play against people who aren't there? Like, It just doesn't make any sense. Ben, what do you think about it?
Yeah, to me, it's just conversation for conversation's sake, basically. It's because especially now we have so much time on our hands. There's no other sports. I mean, this was like the perfect timing for this documentary to come out in the first place. And now it's just been, this explosion of this question, and especially LeBron being the player he is now, it's the constant comparison between him and Michael.
LeBron has handled it amazing, by the way. Not to cut you off, and I apologize, but he's just the constant, reassurance of how much he loves Jordan and just the game of basketball is impressive. But go ahead, sorry, Ben.
But I mean, did you expect anything different from LeBron? Like, that's been who he's been since he came into the league. He's always kind of been that don't say anything super controversial, play my game sort of thing kind of guy. So
true leader.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, it's one of those things, somebody who guys want to play with. And that's the day and age we live in now, where guys literally ask to play with other people. That's part of the game. Hey, come play with me. Oh, I want to go play with you. It may not have been really part of the game then, where those guys had as much influence on the moves that were made. But it's funny because Jordan in his current role, now he may not have as much ability to make changes, but Jordan being an owner in Charlotte, he hasn't really gotten a lot of people to come play in Charlotte. And I don't know. I can't speculate that if LeBron was an owner that he would be able to have guys come play for him. But you would think, with all this publicity around Jordan and everybody's back to Jordan's so great, that guys that are actually in the game at that elite level would maybe go want to play for an organization that he was running. And the fact that that's not happening now is a little interesting because maybe it's Charlotte, maybe it's literally the city and the location and things like that. But it's just interesting because guys do want to play with LeBron in terms of actually playing, but playing for Jordan, it just hasn't happened, or maybe it hasn't happened yet. So, Deke, why don't you take us to maybe your favorite part or a closing thought on The Last Dance before we go around the horn?
Yeah, I won't go to your favorite part because I'll do a closing thought because it's over now, obviously, so we won't talk about too much after this. But I just wanted to touch on too, and I don't know if you guys touched on the whole Kobe thing when I had to step aside, but the Jordan thing to me, after watching all these episodes and thinking about it, is the reason why Jordan, in my opinion, is treated like he's treated, and again, to me, he's like an idol or a god, is because he changed an entire culture that still lives today. And I just don't see, from a basketball person, and granted, I'm not Greg Popovich or anything, but I know a decent amount of basketball as well as you guys do. But like I said before, I see lots of players, a ton of players that can do the things athletically that Michael did, can do the, certain moves and, body type and size. And so what separates Michael is the culture that he changed. Mike was cool. That's what he was. And
he paved the way for people to be
cool,
motivated to win and be cool. Yeah.
He made cool.
And he was the first celebrity in the game, that sure people went out to watch some of these other notable players play and notable teams, but this was the, one of the first times that on and off the court, people wanted to know what he was doing. They're waiting outside the hotels and the locker rooms and things like that, only for him, not for a bunch of players on the team. It was only for him. So,
and so then it also got me to thinking, because I got confused and maybe questioned why everybody does go straight to LeBron for the GOAT talk, and it got me to looking at the Kobe stuff, because Kobe is also that guy, and when Kobe passed away, I think that's a lot of the reason why people had the reaction they did of Kobe, is because he was as cool as they got, and if he wasn't as cool as Michael, he was literally a centimeter behind. You look at LeBron, he does have a better, I guess, basketball body if you're building a robot. But Kobe's cooler. Kobe has won more titles. Kobe's shoes look better. So it got me thinking. I think that's the overall take of it that I had from the 10 episodes, is that I've sort of changed my take on overall why Jordan is the greatest, to probably putting Kobe in second place over LeBron, because if it's purely about entirety of what you as a person for a culture in the world, like Chris said, they're minuscule distances between these guys. But I just moved Kobe in there because of why people argue for Jordan. Kobe's the closest thing to Jordan that we've had as a whole. How come nobody argues them? It just questioned me, and it made me question that. So that's my final take on what came about for my 10 episodes of The Last Dance.
Fair enough. Let's keep moving on. The favorite part, Ben, what did you have for your favorite part of the documentary?
Dennis Rodman was my favorite part, just because he's a kook, man. The guy's crazy. I kind of remember it as a kid, when they would come out and say, "Oh, Rodman missed practice," or things like that. But seeing it in the documentary as I know it now, it's like you didn't realize, hey, he's missing practice for a finals game. Like, that's huge. Right. If anybody does that nowadays, that's absolutely everywhere. So I mean, he was just a different kind of character that was different stuff. Most of the Jordan things, a lot of us already knew his competitiveness. So it was the Rodman stuff to me that kind of stood out.
There's no way he'd get away with that stuff, because now, like, it'd be like, oh, Rodman missed practice. Okay, it's out there. Everybody knows about it because there's press releases.
Videos everywhere.
Yeah, and then as soon as he comes out on NWO or whatever that night was called, I don't know if it was like a Monday night, whatever, but as soon as he came out, I mean, there's your answer to the question, and it would be all over social media. So within a 12-hour, probably even less than that time frame, we would know that, one, he missed practice, two, where he was, and it would be a much bigger deal than it was, and it was a big deal then, but it would be even bigger now. It would just be wild. There's no way you could get away with it. So I mean, the money's different, and I think the regulations they put on these guys and what they can and can't do. You see guys with contracts written where they can't ride motorcycles or rollerblade in their neighborhood or something like that for fear of injury. I think there would be some certain things written in for Rodman nowadays if he was playing, so that he wouldn't be allowed to do that stuff. Chris, what did you have for your favorite part?
Yes, my favorite part was fashion. So I've already touched on it in previous episodes, and so I won't say anything again. The bagginess, the tie-dye, the style was wild, man. The 90s were something. But my closing thought, what I really want to go over here, is I thought it was interesting that Jordan, being an owner of a team, right? he said it was like he was upset that they couldn't try for their 7th ring, and he thought that they could have signed every one of those players back. And like I understand how salary caps work pretty in depth in the NBA, maybe not much in the 90s, but it doesn't have any merit to like, yeah, I would just have taken it. It's easy to say now. I would automatically take a less of a salary back then to go for my 7th title, but that was when Pippen just ended his dinky contract and was looking for a huge payday. So like Jordan would have had to take $5 million and Pippen would have had to take 20. I'm just not sure. It's easy to say now you want to try it, but that stood out to me at the very end. I thought it was kind of a little selfish for him to say the team should have stuck together. We could have tried something, because I truly don't think that would have been the way.
And I think I texted you guys when I was finally finishing up the series that it was so shocking to me that he did say that he did blame the team.
Did I just take your thunder?
No, not at all.
Oh, sorry, my fault.
But that he did blame the team or Krause on, not bringing everybody back on 1-year contracts and going after a 7th title when he retired in the middle of the run and they could have had 7 or 8 straight. Totally. Instead, he selfishly, now he can have all the reasons he wants. I get it. His dad passed away, and that could be the reason why. He might have just wanted to play baseball. It doesn't matter what the reason is, but he can't have it on one end where he blames everybody else in management for not bringing the team together when he had it all right there in front of him and decided not to play anymore. So that to me was really weird. And it does kind of segue into my favorite part, which is sort of mushroom clouded since everything has ended. And that's what was the flu game, which for whatever reason, Jordan decided to touch on the flu game and bring up all these different details and now turn it into a food poisoning game. And now everybody's bringing into question that whole story. I've seen on other shows where, on the documentary, they said it was 5 guys delivered a pizza. There's no way 5 guys are getting up through security and delivering a pizza to Michael Jordan's room, who has his own personal security outside of that. But I've heard that there's security on the floor of the hotel. So when they come off as 5 guys, hey, we're just here to deliver a pizza. You think they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you 5 guys go deliver that one pizza to Michael Jordan's room. That's
34.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's just right there. He's a nice guy. Just knock on the door. And so then I've heard phone calls from an assistant manager at the place where this pizza order was supposedly made. And he said, no, it was just 2 guys. It was him, this assistant manager, and 1 delivery guy. He saw the whole thing being made. I heard that the guy who made the pizza was a Bulls fan. The part that to me doesn't make any sense is, have you ever heard of somebody getting food poisoning from eating pizza? Like usually it's like a, undercooked meat or things like that. But everything that's going on a pizza, you can pretty much just eat as is, right? And you think Jordan's going to pick up a piece of pizza that's undercooked, so it's like this soggy piece of pizza, and he's like, oh, this is totally fine. I'm going to eat this no matter what. It doesn't matter. Like,
to your
that
point,
doesn't make sense.
He did make a very intentional point when he put his finger up and he was like, and I was the only one to eat this pizza. So
Right.
like that is just, there's a lot of like weird moments with that.
Yeah, the story goes that he was with his bodyguards, right? And there's 5 of those guys, and they had already eaten. And MJ got hungry and was pissed off that those guys had already eaten without him. So he made a pizza order, or made somebody make a pizza order for just him. And so when it got there, and supposedly this is a thing that Michael did, he spit on the pizza to lay claim to it. And therefore he was the only one who ate the pizza. And again, I don't know how poorly you need to make a pizza, or with what terrible ingredients you would need to make it with to give somebody food poisoning. But his so-called flu game has turned into a food poisoning game, and the rumors just keep swirling on the truthfulness of not only this story, but then it just blossoms into the rest of the documentary. And Horace Grant is on a radio show as of, I believe, yesterday, and he is saying that 90% of the documentary is, now he says it's BS. I don't think it's to that extent where 90% of it isn't true, but he's saying there's a lot of it that MJ had his hand in telling the story and wanted to tell it in his way. And Horace is not very happy with it. And I guess my final thought on it is just, I respect MJ and everything he's done for the game and his game itself. I don't like him as a person. There's things that have come out that when Sports Illustrated released the cover of him, that he needs to hang it up in terms of the baseball thing, and he got pissed off at that time, whatever year that was that he played baseball, and they came out with that cover, and supposedly he has not signed an autograph of any Sports Illustrated from there on out. So if somebody comes up to him, little kid, adult, whatever, with a Sports Illustrated to sign, he refuses to sign it because it's Sports Illustrated. Charles Barkley in 2018 called him out for being not a good owner, not making good moves as an owner. And MJ and Barkley have been friends for 20 plus years, good friends. MJ has not talked to him since 2018, since Barkley, doing his job, just said that MJ's not making good moves as an owner. I just don't think he's a good person. And people want to tie it into it's his competitive nature and all that stuff. We're beyond his playing days. And I think we're really seeing his true character in all of this. And it just really bothers me. And then some people it may not bother and it doesn't matter. And that's fine. I'm really starting to not like Michael Jordan as a person.
I love it.
I think that's why guys don't go there.
No, I'm still a LeBron fan, so I'll still fight for that.
Yeah, but, I mean, I thought I was a LeBron guy. I'm a LeBron guy. I love LeBron, but again, to me, I just thought about why everybody argues for Jordan.
Right. Is
Kobe.
Sure.
And they never argue for Kobe, which is strange to me.
Yeah, and I never try to argue against that. Or against Kobe. I just say that I guess it would be more against Kobe now because my argument has always been MJ's great. I'm not denying that. LeBron's the best player that I've watched play full games, watched a lot of. And so he's the greatest player I've ever seen. And Kobe's certainly in that argument. And I can see why people want MJ and I get it. But I try not to get into the argument of it for that exact reason.
Yeah.
So
the pizza thing is interesting too. I like that because I can barely go to the mailbox when I got a headache. So if Jordan actually was sick with food poisoning and that's what he did, that is impressive. But now it makes you question, like, if you think when you're that sick, again, he's an athlete, top-notch athlete, probably getting, IVs and different things, but he played a heck of a game for being pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. And when you watch it with that in mind, it almost makes it like, okay, is he being more theatrical now? Every time there was like a dead ball or something where he had to appear as though he was sick. And I think, it's all because the rumors are swirling that he was other places drinking and gambling and doing all this stuff, which is also true of his character during his playing days, that he would go do things like that. But I don't.
We should do a poll and rename the game. So it could be like, do you want this game to be called the pizza pie game, the food poisoning game,
right,
the pie game, the pepperoni game?
Yeah,
people would vote on for that.
There's a lot of people that think he was just hungover, and that's maybe why they tried to bring it up and dispel that in the documentary and make it into a food poisoning game. But if that was the case, why wouldn't they have put that to rest when it first came out? Oh, hey, it wasn't the flu. It was food poisoning. I don't have the flu. That's why I got over it in one day. I didn't have the flu. I was fine the rest of the season. But they waited this long, and now all of a sudden they're coming out. Oh, yeah, here's the real story. That makes zero sense. Anyways, we could do multiple episodes on all this stuff, and maybe another time. Pizza pie game. We're going to take that into.
But you got to say it like Mario. That's a nice pizza pie.
Yeah.
What else are you watching? Last Dance is done. We covered a few shows last week, so we're going to start with Chris here. Chris, what else are you watching now that the Last Dance is?
Not that great of shows on right now in this household, but we are finishing up Working Moms. Not bad, little out there. one of my favorite shows we're just still continuously watching. We're finally in the last season. It's Veep. Man, that is unbelievable.
Yep. It's interesting, because you say it's a little out there. Veep, yeah.
HBO.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and that's a pretty good one. Very well written. But the working moms comment is funny because we watch it, and I don't know if Deke's seen it, but we watch it, and it's so funny, all the similarities, being a parent that you see. And sure, some of them are a little outlandish, but you see a lot of that, and that's what makes it funny for us as parents, which is interesting that you guys may see it as maybe a little bit more out there, not currently having kids. So maybe one that you have to rewatch down the line if things change for you too.
Definitely.
What is that? What service is Working Moms? What service is that?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yep, that's a good one. I think there's a few seasons of that out now. Pretty quick episodes. You can stroll through that one pretty quick. So that takes us to you, Deke. Deke, what are you watching?
Really nothing. I know that's very exciting, but I did finish Messiah, and then I did watch Jerry Seinfeld has a stand-up show on Netflix, so I did watch that. If anybody likes Seinfeld, you got to be a Seinfeld guy, but it's pretty funny. So there's a new stand-up for him on Netflix.
Have you seen what is it?
Riding he thinks
Cars and Coffee.
I watch a few of those, yeah. I don't like those particularly as much, but I thought the stand-up was pretty good.
Okay.
By the way, that stand-up, I'm going to give away a 30-second clip to everybody watching. So spoiler alert, pause it, mute it, whatever you got to do. But me and my wife died laughing when Seinfeld talked about having to go out and buy a podium to answer questions every morning for 15 minutes for his wife so he could get on with the rest of his day. And I honestly, I don't laugh out loud much. And it was just one of those things that the amount of questions you get as a married guy is incredible. But
that's where working moms, when you have kids, now those things become that much funnier because you understand some of those things that they're going through.
Totally.
All right, so and that's all on Netflix, Deke?
Yep.
Okay. Ben, what are you watching?
I am watching one of what I would say is the top 5 trilogies of all time, and that is Back to the Future. So I'm halfway through the second one.
Draft idea.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Draft idea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And are those streaming anywhere?
Yep, they're on Netflix.
Oh, they are.
Oh,
yep.
All of them?
Yep, all 3.
Would you say I'm like Biff?
No, you're not like Biff Tannen.
Oh, come on. Well, I'm definitely not like Marty. I could be Doc. That's
you
probably
could
you guys
be Doc.
think that's Doc.
I get you a wig. Yeah, I could see you being Doc.
If anybody's Doc, that's you.
Yeah, it's already you. That's it.
Interesting. I didn't think you were going to throw out a movie or a movie trilogy, but it's a good one. Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. I am watching, well, as I mentioned last week, still working my way through the Great British Baking Show. I think I'm on the 5th collection, as they call it, not season, but always exciting times. But we actually just started on Hulu. We started watching The Great, which is based on, it's really weird because I thought it was going to be I thought it was like historically accurate. I didn't read much up on it, but it's on Catherine the Great, and my wife is Russian, so there's a tie with Russia in there, and it's out there. It's a little left of center. There's a lot of really outlandish things. They don't mean for it to be historically accurate, and that is very obvious when you watch it. But we're starting to get into the points where Catherine the Great sort of starts to take over and do some different things. But I don't know that I would recommend it yet. I'll let me get through a few more, and maybe by next week I'll let you know what my recommendation is there. So that's The Great on Hulu.
I thought I knew you pretty well, Jason, but listening to the TV shows you watch, I'm not so sure anymore.
Okay, so here's the thing. I watch a lot of TV, like a lot. I mean, I go through, there's always something on, and if I'm working, I'll have something on, stuff. I'm strolling through stuff on YouTube, different shows like that. I mean, I watch a lot of movies. I'll stay up late to, push through stuff that I can't watch when I'm with my wife or when the kids are up. So yeah, there's a lot that I go through. So there's just times like this where I'm left with, a little bit less than what I would consider a standard show for myself.
Jason Gorman, aka the cable guy.
I'll take that. Steven.
Orange Juice.
Oh, goodness. Oh, so that was this week's What Else Are You Watching? Check out those shows. If you have any recommendations for us, please send me some recommendations of stuff that I can watch so these guys stop making fun of me. Hit us up on our Twitter or Instagram and let us know what you think we should be watching, or just let us know what you're watching. That's going to take us to our draft this week. This week, we decided something pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're going to do a soda draft. So I don't care if you call it soda or pop or soda pop or I don't know what other names they have for it, but
I love that poll question.
4-round draft. Oh, soda or pop? Yeah.
Yes. Great call,
4-round
Chris.
draft. And Ben's going to go first, followed by Deke, then Chris, and then I'm going to round it out, and then I will bring it back as our typical snake draft goes. So the one thing we did clarify is if you take cherry Coke, that is different from Coke. So it's not once you pick Coke or Pepsi, you don't get all the different flavors. They are individual. So as you are drafting, you do need to be specific if there's a certain type of that brand of soda that you are looking for. So with that, I guess we will turn it over to Ben here. Let me get it up on my end so I can edit it as we go. And Ben, do you know absolutely without a doubt what you're going with number one? Is it pretty simple for you?
I just want to get some clarity just to be sure here. So going along with what you said, I'm going to take root beer. Do I have to select a specific kind of root beer? Is what I'm saying? Okay,
yeah.
So like
I don't just get to say cola and get every cola out there.
Well, no, but like, what's the difference between getting A&W root beer and Barks root beer? It's like it's less. There's 12 different kinds of.
The same as getting Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola.
Is this also considered a soda, or is this a root beer?
Now that's a philosophical question.
Yeah.
It's whatever. You have to pick Barks or A&W, or you have to be specific. Because you could also say that Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow are just a citrus soda, and that's way too vague.
Okay. I'm still gonna go with. Well, now there's like 20 different kinds of root beer that I like, so now I'm thrown.
Obviously, there's a bunch of different brands.
I think you do have to go with a specific beer.
All right.
There may be people voting that are like, yeah, I like Barks root beer, but I hate A&W root beer.
That's also a fact.
Or people that may say, hey, I like Diet Coke, but I don't like Coke. And so somebody picked Coke, and I'm not going to vote for that because I wanted to see Diet Coke on there.
Just trying to give you some time here, Ben.
Yep, I feel you. I'm gonna go with Barks root beer. Yet we'll just do that.
Were you looking up the flavor combinations of those root beers? Was that the deciding factor?
I'm probably gonna pick 4 different root beers, so that's gonna be all that's on my list.
I'm just gonna keep Ben's win total at 2.
Yeah.
I wanted to take Mellow Yellow just to spite you guys, or Deke mostly.
Well,
I'm the only one who currently drinks it, so.
Be happy to know that I have not drank a Mellow Yellow in about 6 years.
Oh, that's sad. Wow. Not nice.
Well, Deke, with your 6-year abstinence, what are you taking with your first pick?
Well, it's between 2. Either one's not coming back to me for sure, but I'm going to go with our voters and probably the people who follow us. And I'm going to go with Mountain Dew.
Okay.
I think that would be a popular one to have on the team.
And why are you saying that is popular amongst our voters as compared to some of the other options?
I think some of the other options may be a little old school or stale. And I think that is very popular among the generations that follow us.
Okay.
More popular.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I don't think there's any wrong answers throughout this entire thing. I mean,
I do know it's definitely better than Barks root beer. So I'll just throw that out there.
Wow.
Now, see, I don't drink. Now, as somebody who still drinks soda, I don't drink Mountain Dew if I can help it because they changed the recipe, and the old recipe was much better, which is when I only drank Mountain Dew. I wouldn't drink Mellow Yellow, but I have since switched sides and gone with Mellow Yellow because it tastes better than the new recipe of Mountain Dew. So
could be a strong advantage because I had no idea.
Yeah, when it was one of the times when Mountain Dew switched their, all their branding and what their cans and bottles look like. They also changed the recipe, and it's a little more syrupy now. So, fun fact for anybody out there, if you're thinking of Mountain Dew, I would say go Mellow Yellow. But hey, that's just me. Chris, takes us to you. Third pick overall. You're first. What soda?
Yep. Let's keep this draft moving. I am gonna go with Mellow Yellow. Obviously, was gonna go with Mountain Dew real quick, but the worst thing, and I'll give Deke a prop because of notoriety, Mountain Dew is a little bit more nationwide. Because when I did move out to California and I would go to a drive up and ask them if I could get a Mellow Yellow, the thing they told me always, not we have Mountain Dew, they'd be like, yes, we have Sprite. And I'm like, right. I just don't understand this comparable here, guys. Like, so they obviously don't know what Mellow Yellow is. So,
it's so weird. So just a quick story there is, living in Georgia, the Coca-Cola capital of the world, because it was created here. Mellow Yellow is a Coke product. Mountain Dew is a Pepsi product. So up north in
Mellow Yellow,
in Marshfield and places in the Midwest, you can go to a fast food restaurant. You can get Mellow Yellow. Like, it's just an option. Moving down here, it's not. And sure, there's some places that do have it, and now there's some places that have like the Coke Freestyle machines, so it's part of that. But it's just not an option at a lot of restaurants, and it's mind-blowing to me that I've come to the place where Coca-Cola is, the biggest monster out there in soda, and it's the hardest to find one of the Coca-Cola products while I'm here. It makes no sense to me. It's just really odd being in the Coke capital.
Do they have Dewskis there?
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. The restaurants that do have Pepsi products, they have Mountain Dew. And in terms of those two brands, Coke and Pepsi, you would think the big three are probably Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and then you have your one-off from that being Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow.
And of course, a lot of Barks root beer.
Yeah, Barks root beer out the wazoo. Gotta have it.
He's good.
Okay, so it's really weird because I didn't think Coke or Pepsi would fall to me, even Sprite. So I have back-to-back picks here. I think just because of where I am, I'm going to take Coca-Cola. Not that we have a ton of followers down here. Let me share my screen here so we can see the updated board. But that's how it plays out right now. Barks Root Beer went first to Ben, then Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow, and an odd fourth pick. I thought it was going to be, one of the first two picks. I'm going to take Coca-Cola. I would say that I don't drink it, but that'd be false because I am a big fan of a solid Captain and Coke while I'm drinking adult beverages. So I have some Coca-Cola right inside right now. Maybe I'll have to have a couple of those tonight. We'll see where the night takes me. But
can have a couple of those while you watch that baking show. Get you all riled up.
There you go. See, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Now the interesting part is, do I just back it up with Pepsi? And then, people can't say, well, I don't like Coke, so I'm not going to take Jason because I have Pepsi there too.
Smart.
I think, but then I could just take Sprite and have a little bit more wide range of flavors. No, you know what I'm going to do here because I don't think it'll make it back to me. I almost forgot about it. I don't know if you guys have a list. I do not currently have a list in front of me. Let me do this quick here. Hold on. Trying to get my slide up so I can alter it. All right. I'm going to go with Dr. Pepper.
I think with the Coca-Cola family.
Well, yeah, it had nothing to do with that, but I think Dr. Pepper, is a big one out there for a lot of people. A lot of people that do not like the Mellow Yellows and Mountain Dews, and maybe like Deke said, Coke and Pepsi are just kind of bland, kind of old school. So to add a little flavor to a brown soda and go with Dr. Pepper. So that's what I'm going with to start round 2, which takes us back to Chris. 6th pick overall, your second pick. What soda are you taking?
I'm going to go purely just based on what I like. I love our voters, but this is for me, baby. Going with Sprite.
Sprite, okay.
Yeah.
So interesting that you picked Mellow Yellow with your first pick and didn't go with what you actually drink.
But I drink Mellow Yellow the most.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a
Mountain Dew, I would have taken it because of what Deke said, actually, but I didn't get that chance. So very happy with it.
Fair enough. So you got your 2 favorites right there in front of you on your squad. Deke, 7th pick overall, your second pick. Soda next on your board is?
I'll go with Pepsi. I can't leave it out there anymore.
So Deke going to Pepsi products. Sticking with the Pepsi family, which reigns true, I think, in the Midwest.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears does.
Wasn't she a Pepsi? Did she have Pepsi commercials or something? Whatever.
She did. All right, so Ben, that's going to take us to you. You got back-to-back picks, but just give me one for now so I can update the board and show everybody where we're at.
Sprecher root beer is my second favorite root beer.
So you're just not taking this seriously. Now you're going to take 4 root beers. You said so. So now you're just going to be that guy.
No. I won't do that. Although I want to, but I won't. I will take Fanta as my number 2 pick.
Okay.
Which one?
Fanta, orange Fanta. Isn't there only one flavor of Fanta?
No, there's like 5.
Oh, well, I only ever get orange Fanta.
Okay.
Orange Fanta.
I'm going to...
Yes. I don't even have any comments.
Oh, Ben. I mean, the thing is this is who Ben is, and this is the Ben we know and the Ben that we love. It's just awesome to get it. And I don't mean to always put out these Instagram things of just Ben, but it's just these are the cuts that we get. The cuts that we get are usually of Ben. Not saying anything goofy I'm not trying to say Ben saying things that are stupid. I'm just what do you? Oh man, I mean it's
solid gold, baby.
Yeah, it is. It's just instant classics, at least in our eyes or our ears, and on Instagram. So if you haven't seen them, there's a few little mini cuts of some outtakes, maybe some stuff that actually didn't make air because it happened before we started the show. So check out those things on Instagram. The rest of the field, you can find us on there. Give us a follow so you can see them. I'll add some more tonight and as the week goes on. But that's the draft as it looks right now. So that's through 2 rounds. We went Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Pepsi, and Orange Fanta to round out the second round. So now we're going to come back with Ben. And Ben, your third pick, which is going to be the 9th pick overall. You got a root beer in mind here, or what are you going with?
Well, my third favorite root beer would have been IBC, just for the record.
Maybe some Schweppes tonic water.
Schweppes is good. Dad's root beer is also very good to me. That's kind of an old school one. I don't see a lot of anymore. Dad's. I'm going to go with Code Red Mountain Dew. I'm not sure if that's even around anymore. That's what I'm going with.
I do not mind this pick. There's one place, Ben, can you guess the one place that I absolutely have to have Mountain Dew Code Red is when I'm in Marshfield and I am at this place. What place is it?
Hot now.
Nope.
I don't even know if it's there anymore.
Is it a Marshfield only establishment?
I mean, they're these type of places all over the world, but at the Marshfield one is where I always get Code Red Mountain Dew, no matter what.
Applebee's?
Nope. Okay. I thought you might know. It's
No,
definitely
I'm blanking.
Rogers Cinema. Rogers Cinema has it on the gun. At least they did. So every movie we always went to, it was always Mountain Dew Code Red as soon as that came out, and they had it on their gun, or not on the gun. I don't know, soft drink
On the machine.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot. I wasn't ready.
I thought you would reminisce and know that one, because I thought maybe that was the same place you would have it. So
didn't have the same memory as you, Jason. Not good.
I'm a Code Red guy, so I like that one.
My Code Red memory goes back to walking around. Was it Warren's when we were right out of high school or in high school with the big mug from the Badgers game with little vodka.
So vodka and Code Red Mountain Dew. Would you drink that today?
Oh yeah, you better believe it. They even came out with a live wire, I think, that was like an orange.
Yeah,
and I think we did half live wire, half Code Red, and then like a quart of vodka.
A quart of vodka.
My ratios might be off there, but that's
why you got that beard.
Yeah. Yep. Put some hair on his face. Very interesting. Live wire is one. I think there's still one that they, I don't know what it's called, but it's at like Taco Bell's a big Mountain Dew video game. There's like a light kind of aqua Mountain Dew out there. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, doesn't matter. Deke, your third pick, 10th pick overall. Soda next on your list is
A&W root beer.
Whoa!
Also a good root beer.
Apparently not good enough for Ben to take.
It's not even in your
my
top.
Number 4.
Oh, that'd be 5.
Root beer. No, I think I would put it above Dad's.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we got 2 root beers off the board on our draft, ranking right up there with sort of the 2 citruses. Well, I guess Code Red's in the mix now, so the citrus and Sprite too, right? Would you guys consider Sprite a citrus?
Yeah.
So you got Mountain Dew, Mellow Yellow, Sprite, and Code Red, all citrus drinks. I would put Orange Fanta in the orange category all by itself, and then a couple colas. I would even put Dr. Pepper in the cola family, but whatever. So Chris, third pick, 11th overall. What soda are you going with?
I'm torn. I'm definitely torn. I just want everyone to know I looked up best soda on Google search, and the first thing that came up underneath it was, is Mellow Yellow good for me? And I think if they're asking that question, they probably need to second guess their purchase choice. Yeah.
Why are you just
that's not a
asking
good
that
sign.
No.
Man, it's between 3. I'm not sure if I want to just go so bland as like Diet Coke, and I know it's a popular choice, but the can is just so boring. All right, we'll go Diet Coke.
Okay. I think that might be a steal this late in the draft. I think Diet Coke's a big one in terms of consumption.
Delicious.
Yeah. Again, I'm only drinking it if there's another part to that drink, and that part being alcohol. But that's just me. Some people guzzle Diet Coke because, it's not as bad as Coca-Cola, or that's what they think. So I'd be interested to know what other nuggets they have on there, because I have back-to-back picks to finish out my team here, and I'm kind of in a spot where I don't know what to take. All the sodas that I drink are off the board, so it's kind of left me.
They have Surge, they have Volt, they got Orange Crush.
Hey.
Yeah, let him do his own research. What's going on here?
I think the one that I was going to take, and it's right there in the picture, and I'll share my screen here to show round 3 where we're at, is Surge. Surge is one that is sold now. It's not just a kind of a retro drink that comes out every now and again, but it is out there. I saw it just the other day. I haven't had it in a while, but I did like it when it was out there, when it first came out. So I'm going to go with Surge and round it out. So we went Mountain Dew Code Red, A&W root beer, Diet Coke, and then I finished out round 3 with Surge. So it's going to now snake back to finish everything out. Starts with my pick. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with another one that's on the picture there. I'm going to go with Sunkissed Orange. I think in terms of the orange drinks, it's just going to come down to if people have, a preference to Fanta, or if Sunkissed, there's not a ton of other orange sodas. I mean, there is Crush, but you just don't see Crush as often anymore. So that's where I'm at. And with that, I'm going to turn to Chris to round out his team. His last pick, 14th pick overall.
I'm so pumped about this one. Can you guys name it? This is the number 1 soda for airlines when you fly. Can you name it?
7-Up.
Nope, it's not 7-Up. It's ginger ale, Canada Dry, because people always have like upset stomachs or so whatever they say. But that is a steal at number 4.
Is it Canada or Canadian?
It's Canada.
What about Schweppes?
I can only think of tonic water when I see Schweppes.
It is Canada.
Okay, that's fine. I got it in there. Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Interesting choice. This apparently feels like a lot of people are traveling and listening to us at the same time, so maybe he'll steal some notes that way. But that takes us to Deke to round out his team, 15th pick overall, his 4th. What soda is going to round you out?
7-Up. I thought Chris was going to steal it, but I'm glad he didn't.
Are those all Pepsi?
Choice, pretty quick there.
Do Pepsi, root beer, AW root beer, 7-Up?
I think they might all be Pepsi. Yes.
AW, I don't know if it is or not, but Deke's got a nice little Pepsi squad there. So Ben, what are you going to round out with?
Can I make a prediction for Ben's?
Sure.
If you get the prediction, I will buy you a round of drinks.
Wow, Ben made a money.
I have it. I have it here. I will write it down.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to get this, but your draft has been so wild. I'm going to go with Sioux City Sarsaparilla.
That is a good one.
I'm going to go with High C.
I'm going to go with RC Cola.
I thought you had it written down already, Ben.
I'm writing it down right now. It is
after we all
Jolly
guessed?
Good cream soda.
Oh, pick.
That is I feel like is a very Wisconsin-y sort of drink. I like A&W as well, but Jolly Good was where it was at when we were growing up.
Made you very jolly.
Yeah,
I like a good cream soda.
That's
you
a
can
good
really
one.
only have like one, maybe two, but then you're really pushing it. If you're adding a party or something like that. I like that pick. It brings me back. Let me put up the final board here. So there you have it. Sunkissed Canada Dry Ginger Ale, 7-Up, and Jolly Good cream soda. So interesting squads here. I don't know. Chris's ginger ale one throws me a bit. I think he had a really good squad leading up to it. I don't know if Canada Dry is going to push people over.
There's like
or
two
he's gonna steal
dads
those.
or moms out there that are going to be all up in my votes because of that. So
Chris,
that's all I'm saying.
Chris is picking based on his parents' Twitter vote, which is totally fine.
I don't think they have Twitter. I don't know about that.
So Chris is currently creating his parents' Twitter pages for them to vote for ginger ale. I like Deke's squad. Deke's got a good flavor palette, so to speak. He's got a little bit of everything on there, which Chris did too, but the ginger ale and Sprite are pretty close to one another. So I think Deke kind of has the best range of flavors. Ben's is certainly unique. I mean, you might win a lot of Wisconsin listeners over with that Jolly Good pick. I remember going to the grocery store and you could just pick the little crate and then you basically created your own case. Mm-hmm. So you could take, 7 cream sodas and then throw in a couple other flavors. I don't remember what they were all called.
Grape was the other good one.
Yeah, they had grape. They had cherry. They had a lot of flavors, and you could literally mix and match and make up whatever type of case of soda that you wanted. So it's an interesting one. That's a nostalgic pick. I like that.
Did anybody else always yell "Jolly Good" when they would have some?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
No, literally nobody does that.
I mean, try it next time. It's fun.
We'll put it on Instagram. We'll see if anybody did that. So
Jolly Good.
Yeah. That rounds out our show and our draft for this week. You can find the poll for this draft on Twitter at @rest_field. You're also going to be able to find our poll question: who you think is going to win the match 2? Is that going to be Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson? That's coming up. Is that on Saturday? It's just a one-day event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just one day.
I'm assuming that's a Saturday deal.
I think it's Sunday. It's
the
the 24th.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking I'm going to start
open.
watching this baking show, so I'm probably going to be just a wormhole to this baking show.
Somebody's going to have to send a reminder so I can turn off the baking show, the Great British Baking Show, and tune into the match 2. Chris, what do you got?
Guys, we got great odds here for Ben buying us all rounds. We got -200 as far as the odds, so he's definitely didn't play his cards very well there. So
yep.
Let's go. Let's go Tiger.
Thirsty.
Well, unless you're confident, and in that case, Ben, you should get online and place some bets with some actual money, because if you're that confident, then maybe you might steal a couple bucks from some folks out there.
I've already done that.
Oh.
Oh.
Interesting, Mr. Christensen. Let me share my screen up here so we can all see that one last time. So that's how the soda draft rounded out. Get on Twitter, put a vote in. Let us know on the poll question. We're gonna come back at you this weekend with another draft. We are going to be drafting all-time rappers. So hip hop, rap, all-time rappers. We're only going to have 3 of us. Ben's going to be sitting this one out. Ben is actually going on a wonderful golf vacation, so we wish him the best of luck. Safe travels.
Unless you guys want me to do a remote show from the course walkthrough.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we want that to happen. We want to see live shots.
I want to see live shots off the tee.
Oh boy.
I like it. Right. So we'll see what we can do there. It's going to be at least 3 of us. Maybe Ben will be able to join us, but we will be drafting some rappers over the weekend. So look for that, and then also the Twitter poll to follow. So get online, check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Give us some likes, some follows, some suggestions. Let us know. Maybe you don't have any suggestions. We'll just call you out, and if you want us to give you a shout out for a certain reason or just for being a good listener, let us know. We can certainly do that. So with that, I'm going to round it out. Whoops, that went backwards, not forwards. All right, there we go. So we're going to round it out. My name is Jason Gorman, for Chris Weiler, for Deke, and for Ben Christensen. We are the rest of the field. We love you guys. Keep listening, keep following, keep subscribing. And with that, we are out.